Imagine your trembling fingers brushing away 4,000 years of fine desert dust, lifting a heavy golden mask, and staring directly into the hollow eyes of someone who died long before Rome even existed. Why exactly did the ancient Egyptians bother burying their most beloved dead with pure, gleaming gold placed carefully inside the mouth? And what did that shimmering precious metal actually genuinely symbolize? The astonishing finds of April 2026 finally deliver a concrete answer. And honestly, that answer quietly rewrites almost everything most ordinary people assume about this obsessive, beautiful, death-defying ancient civilization. 1. History textbooks insisted for centuries that whip-scarred slaves dragged every single limestone block up the Great Pyramid beneath a merciless, punishing, utterly unforgiving desert sun. Yet archaeologists excavating the workers' village beside Giza uncovered bakeries, breweries, and skeletons showing professionally healed fractures, proving these laborers received real medical care, daily bread, and roughly 10 liters of beer. So the men who raised Khufu's monument weren't broken captives at all. They were basically the most over-pampered, beer-funded, benefits-loaded union construction crew that the entire Bronze Age could possibly have ever produced. 2. Everyone breathlessly repeats the legend that a deadly pharaoh's curse murdered the men who dared disturb Tutankhamun's sealed tomb back in 1922. Lord Carnarvon genuinely did die suddenly from an infected mosquito bite, yet most of the excavation team lived for decades, with Howard Carter himself surviving a comfortable 16 additional years. The real killer wasn't an angry, vengeful spirit hunting trespassers. It was probably toxic mold, behaving exactly like that suspicious black patch quietly growing inside the apartment. Your sketchy landlord swears is perfectly safe. 3. Hollywood and countless paintings sold the world a fantasy that Cleopatra was a flawless, jaw-dropping, impossibly seductive bombshell who weaponized her face against powerful Roman men. Surviving coins minted during her reign reveal a strong hooked nose and a sharp jutting chin, while ancient writers actually praised her voice, wit, and dazzling intelligence instead. Turns out history's most famous seductress conquered emperors using charisma and ruthless political genius, essentially proving she was the original networking powerhouse while everyone else was still obsessing over surface-level appearances. 4. People love whispering that embalmers carefully preserved every sacred organ before lovingly wrapping the body for its long, peaceful, eternal voyage into the shimmering afterlife. In reality, the brain was liquefied and yanked out piece by piece through the nostrils using a hooked bronze instrument, then simply thrown away as useless garbage. The Egyptians genuinely believed the heart did all the thinking, so they preserved that organ obsessively, which is roughly the equivalent of carefully backing up your phone case while gleefully smashing the actual phone. 5. For more than 14 centuries, absolutely nobody on the entire planet could read a single one of those mysterious, elegant, beautifully carved Egyptian hieroglyphic symbols. Then French scholar Jean-François Champollion cracked the entire system in 1822 using the trilingual Rosetta Stone, realizing the symbols mixed sounds and ideas together cleverly. So, an entire civilization's voice stayed completely muted for over 1,000 silent years, like a viral message left permanently on red, until one obsessive genius finally bothered swiping it open. 6. Now back to that gold inside the mouth, because the April 2026 discovery near Saqqara unearthed dozens of bodies fitted with golden tongues and golden eye covers. Researchers confirmed the gold leaf was meant to let the dead speak before Osiris and gaze upon the sun god Ra without their flesh ever decaying. The Egyptians weren't being morbidly flashy with their funerals at all. They were essentially installing a premium lifetime warranty on the afterlife, paid entirely upfront in shimmering, incorruptible precious metal. 7. During the confused medieval period, plenty of European travelers genuinely believed the towering Egyptian pyramids were actually ancient granaries built long ago by the biblical Joseph. The geometry obviously made this absurd, since the interiors are mostly solid stone containing narrow passages and burial chambers, offering almost no usable storage volume whatsoever. So for centuries, educated Europeans confidently mislabeled the planet's most sophisticated tombs as oversized grain silos, behaving exactly like that confident relative who explains complicated topics he very clearly never actually researched. 8. Schoolbooks portray Egyptians as a primitive Bronze Age people who barely understood metal beyond hammering soft copper and decorative shiny gold trinkets. Yet Tutankhamun was buried alongside an exquisitely crafted dagger, whose blade was forged from genuine meteorite iron, confirmed by modern nickel and cobalt analysis. So the boy king literally carried a weapon that fell screaming from outer space onto the desert sand, making every modern influencer flexing limited edition sneakers look painfully, hopelessly unoriginal by comparison. 9. We imagine ancient workers as silent, obedient, endlessly loyal subjects who never once dared question their divine god king or his glittering, unquestionable royal authority. Yet during the reign of Ramesses III, tomb builders at Deir el-Medina staged history's first recorded labor strike after their grain wages arrived late repeatedly. So the very first documented work stoppage in human history happened over delayed payment, proving that the check is in the mail has been infuriating workers for well over 3,000 years. 10. Most people assume vibrant synthetic colors are a modern miracle invented by clever chemists working inside sterile, humming, brightly lit 20th century industrial laboratories. Yet the Egyptians manufactured the world's first synthetic pigment, Egyptian blue, by heating sand, copper, and natron, and that pigment even glows under infrared light today. So an ancient culture casually invented a luminescent supermaterial scientists still study eagerly, essentially dropping the Bronze Age equivalent of a viral product that quietly refuses to ever go out of style. 11. Modern pregnancy tests feel impossibly advanced, so surely no ancient society could ever guess whether a hopeful woman was actually expecting a baby. Right? An Egyptian medical papyrus instructed women to urinate daily on bags of barley and wheat seeds, claiming sprouting grain reliably confirmed a genuine pregnancy. Astonishingly, modern experiments showed elevated hormones really can trigger that germination, meaning the Egyptians basically beat the pharmacy aisle by 4 millennia using nothing but seeds and remarkable patience. 12. Everyone lazily lumps all of ancient Egypt into one single blurry, sandy, monotone era where pharaohs and pyramids supposedly coexisted together forever. Yet, Cleopatra lived around 30 BC, while the Great Pyramid was already built around 2500 BC, an unfathomable gap of roughly 2500 years. This means Cleopatra actually lived closer in time to the modern moon landing than to the pyramid's construction, which genuinely short-circuits almost everybody's entire fragile sense of historical distance. 13. People know Egyptians liked cats, but few truly grasp just how fanatically, obsessively, and economically devoted this entire civilization actually became toward their sacred felines. They mummified literally millions of cats as offerings to the goddess Bastet, running dedicated breeding farms and even sparking a thriving ancient industry around feline corpses. So, an empire collapsed centuries ago, partly fueled by industrial-scale cat worship, proving humanity has genuinely been monetizing adorable kittens roughly 3,000 years before the internet ever existed. 14. The flowing ceremonial false beard strapped beneath a pharaoh's chin looks majestic, masculine, and obviously reserved for powerful bearded ruling kings alone. Yet Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's most successful female rulers, deliberately wore that same fake golden beard to project unquestionable royal legitimacy and divine authority. So, a woman literally strapped on artificial facial hair to seize ultimate power, basically inventing the world's first dress for the job you actually want. Leadership hack thousands of years early. 15. Everyone assumes that heavy black eye makeup smeared across Egyptian faces was purely decorative vanity meant only for looking dramatic, mysterious, and effortlessly attractive. Yet modern chemical analysis revealed their kohl contained lead salts that actually stimulated the immune system and helped fight common painful bacterial eye infections. So their iconic, glamorous look was secretly functional medicine disguised as fashion, Like discovering your favorite expensive moisturizer somehow also quietly cures every minor illness you have ever caught. 16. Tour guides constantly repeat the satisfying story that Napoleon's bored soldiers blasted off the Great Sphinx's nose using cannon fire during their Egyptian campaign. Yet detailed sketches drawn by the traveler Frederick Norden in 1737, decades before Napoleon arrived, clearly already show the nose completely missing. So humanity blamed the wrong villain for centuries over a crime he could not have committed, behaving exactly like an entire comment section, confidently accusing someone based on zero actual evidence whatsoever. 17. We picture the pyramids as rough, weathered, sandy brown stepped mountains, slowly crumbling beneath the relentless heat of thousands of merciless passing years. Yet they were originally sheathed in polished white Tora limestone casing stones that gleamed so brilliantly they could reportedly be seen shining from distant mountains. So today's faded ruins are merely the stripped skeleton of a blinding monument. Like judging a luxury sports car solely by its rusted frame after thieves stole every gorgeous panel. 18. Art collectors throughout history adored a rich, warm, earthy brown oil paint, never once questioning where that uniquely beloved colorful pigment genuinely originated. The shade was literally called mummy brown, because European manufacturers ground up actual ancient Egyptian mummies into powder to produce that fashionable artistic pigment. So priceless masterpieces hanging proudly in museums were quite possibly painted using pulverized dead pharaohs, which makes today's most questionable trendy food ingredients suddenly seem almost charmingly, refreshingly innocent by comparison. 19. Egyptians believed the afterlife demanded a final judgment, but surely such a spiritual test couldn't possibly hinge on something as absurdly simple as basic weight, right? In the Hall of Judgment, Anubis weighed the deceased person's heart against a single delicate feather belonging to Ma'at, the goddess of cosmic truth and order. A heart heavier than that feather got instantly devoured by a waiting monster, essentially functioning as the universe's original, terrifyingly strict, completely non-negotiable moral fitness assessment with absolutely zero appeals process. 20. Wealthy Egyptians worried constantly about the exhausting manual labor they might be forced to perform endlessly throughout their long, eternal, supposedly blissful afterlife. So they were buried alongside hundreds of small figurines called shabti, magical servant statues believed to spring to life and work on their owner's behalf. So the elite literally packed tiny enchanted employees into their tombs to dodge eternal chores, basically outsourcing the entire afterlife to a loyal, uncomplaining, permanently unpaid miniature ceramic workforce. 21. Skeptics insist mysterious advanced outsiders must have helped, because surely primitive humans could never precisely move stone blocks weighing several massive tons each. Yet evidence shows crews used sledges over wet sand, reducing friction dramatically, alongside dolerite pounding stones and clever lever systems for incredible precision placement. So there were never any flying saucers hovering over the desert at all, just brilliant, exhausted engineers solving brutal logistics, which is somehow infinitely more impressive than any lazy alien shortcut theory. 22. And here lies the single most disturbing, genuinely unhinged, almost unbelievable fact this entire civilization accidentally left buried for shocked future generations to uncover. Powdered mummy called Mumia was eaten across Europe for centuries as medicine, while in the 1800s mummies were allegedly burned as cheap locomotive fuel and used to manufacture paper. So humanity genuinely swallowed, incinerated, and recycled the embalmed dead for profit, transforming sacred kings into snacks, train fuel, and stationery, which is comfortably the most absurd betrayal in all of recorded history.